Hi! So, I want to tell you guys about 3 books that I read in, gosh, I guess really from January to now. So, I've only read 3 books, been kind of busy. One of them is digital, so I don't have it, but I just thought I'd tell you guys about them and just what I thought about them. So, I am now an 8th grade English teacher. I am actually not going to be doing that anymore. I'm going to be an art teacher, which is really exciting. That's the real calling that I think I have. So I'm excited about that, but I want to talk to you guys about a few of the books that I have actually got to read in between working. And the first one that, oh, that's a lot. The first one that I read was Bones and All. I thought this was really interesting. This is the, well, I guess this is the movie cover. And so those would be the actors. I think Timothy Chalamet plays the boyfriend. The back says, Marian Yearly is a young woman who wants the same thing that we all do. She wants someone to admire her and respect her. She wants to be loved, but it says she has a secret and its shameful needs have forced her into exile. She hates herself for the bad things she does, and she doesn't want to be judged. And so it says she didn't choose to be this way. So let me make sure. Does it mention it? Yeah, okay. So on the back, it tells you ahead of time that this is kind of a cannibal story. Now, I knew that going in because I had seen the trailer for the movie, and it was really intriguing. They call them eaters, and it's like a biological need for her in the book. I think I gave this like 3 or 4 stars. It was interesting. There were times that I thought it was a little slow, but it was a really interesting concept, and I kind of liked what it was talking about, the way that it related a lot of things to her mother and her parents, and the things that she loved she would eat, or the things, it really wasn't what she loved, but she would get anyone she got close to she would eat. And I thought that was a really good metaphor. However, the ending did not do it for me. I didn't like it at all. Thought it was kind of I don't know, it just felt cheap. I didn't enjoy it. It took a lot of the joy out of the story, and obviously I knew it was horror going in, but I was kind of expecting like a happily ever after for the characters in here, at least 2 of them. I did like what happened to some of the villain characters that were involved, but I was pretty bummed out about the ending. And so if you're going to read this and you are sensitive to happily ever afters, or at the very least your ship getting together, I don't know that I would take this one and go through it. Good story, interesting concept, but I don't know if the ending is good enough for me. Like, it is 300 pages, and I don't know, the world just felt a little less after I got to the ending. I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like, it's kind of anticlimactic. Spoilers. I'm giving you a chance to click off or to pause or to skip. So the ending felt like there was no growth. She not only eats someone that she loves, and they do offer themselves to her to be eaten, but then she just reverts into hiding herself, taking over people's lives, hiding in the shadows, eating people purposefully. So in a way, it didn't feel like she grew as a character. She just accepted things and then let them continue. So I didn't like that. End spoilers. The next book I read was Normal People by Sally Rooney. This one has a lot of mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it. I actually enjoyed it. I do think the characters are really obtuse. I can see why people don't like them. I can see why people get frustrated with the book. The first, goodness, I would say the first 100 pages were awfully boring, to be honest. Sorry if you can hear the motorcycle behind my house. But it was kind of boring. But I knew that like the Netflix series, that of course there's always like something that sucked me in before I go read something. But the Netflix series, I really liked the way that the actors were sort of interacting, and I just thought there would be more subplot. But I did know going in that it had a lot of complaints about how it did things, the structure, the slowness. So I was prepared for that, and it didn't bother me that much. I have to actually read, I have to refresh myself on how it ended. I remember that I gave it an okay, I think I gave it like a 3 or 4. Just, it was okay. I did enjoy it, and I didn't mind how the relationship progressed. I thought it was kind of like, oh, I do remember how it ends. I even wrote myself a note. I put, and I'm terrible. I want a happily ever after, so often I do not vibe with books. I was like, what the crap? This sucks. And that was exactly how I felt. Like, not only is it a slog to get through and a lot of like trauma and frustrations, and the characters are not growing like you would like them to grow. In fact, sometimes they're just getting worse. And then for it to end on, again, a note that feels like they haven't learned anything. They haven't grown. They're in the same place. They're doing the same things, which I guess is what normal people do, but well-adjusted people do not. So I guess that's the problem, that these guys are not well-adjusted. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. Would I recommend this? Yes, but know what you're getting into. Know that it's kind of slow. It's kind of boring at times. It almost feels frustrating sometimes, but it's not a hard read. The language is easy to follow. And if you're not someone who needs a happily ever after, I think you'll like this book. It's not terrible, and some of the prose was really, really nice. The next book I read was much larger than both of those. It was a whopping 484 pages. It is a translated book called Titan. Is it? Yeah, just Titan. I think I wanted to say it was called AI, but yeah, Titan. And this one is interesting. I was trying to see if it says who translated it. It says it's by, oh, it's right here on the front. Mado Nozaki, translated by Evan Ward. And I don't know if it's because it's translated that it feels so stilted and obtuse at times, or if that is really the intention, because it reads like you're talking to AI. I don't know if you're supposed to know ahead of time. I don't think you are. It does set up the novel in these sections, and it looks like this. And so it is set up as if it was an essay. And I don't want to give spoilers, so if you don't want to know anything about this book, this is your chance. So it's set up as a essay, and within it you find out, you don't know this until the end, unless maybe you're really smart, but I wasn't. She's a hobby therapist. Work no longer exists in this world, and so AI has taken all the jobs and let humans become hobbyists. They're living longer, they're less stressed, they can live upwards of 140 years, but most people do not choose to do so because they're so bored at that point that they're like, no, it's fine, I'll just die. But the Titan who runs everything gets depressed and needs a therapist. And I thought that was such an interesting concept, a human being a therapist for the AI that runs the world. And the whole thing is about what is work, why do we work, the concept of work, AI working, and whether or not we've just created another enslaved race. And it's not really about that, but there are layers to it that are kind of like, what have we done? What have we created? Like, are you depressed because we're making you work, and if we don't make you work, we will die. So do we continue to make you work? However, at the end, you kind of find out that this whole thing has been an essay that she published. And she's like 180 now. And so that was like, what? So I guess end spoilers. Okay. So 484 pages. I got to about probably 284, 300, and just could not pick it back up. It was long, it was lengthy, it was boring. The beginning part was really enthralling and interesting, and how the AI was created and things like that. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't know that it was worth it, but I finished it because I was like, I am 300 pages in. I am not putting this is going on my Goodreads. And it does end well. And I thought it was interesting how it ended. Like, it wasn't a terrible ending. It was kind of like surprising because I kept trying to think, where are they going with this? But if you are a fan of translated works, and you're kind of a fan of science fiction, and this was very realistic science fiction. This is a future I could see. Like, ChatGPT could be Titan. I could see that in the future. So if that interests you, I definitely think this is worth reading. However, I would not give it probably over a 4. I think there were things that could be improved upon, but it was interesting all the same. I don't have a physical copy, but I also read oh no, I just forgot the name of it. Oh, it's a V.E. Schwab book. It is something about shadows. A shard of shadow, a darkness of shadow. It's got this guy. I'm just going to tell you about it. It's got this guy named Kel, and he is from Red London. There's a White London and Black London. They all have either a lot of magic, some magic, or no magic. And he and this other guy who's also kind of magical are kind of like going at it. And then another girl comes in, and you get the idea that she's probably got some magic in her too, but you just don't know. And they kind of team up, and the book is about them kind of fighting this evil presence and getting back this stolen relic to another place. And it was really interesting. I love the way that they had portals and how everything was described, and just, it was actually a really good play on, like, what if we had a parallel universe or parallel kind of cities, and the map's really interesting. They're all London, but they're not the same London, but they are all on the same area in each of the worlds. And it was really interesting. I thought it was a really good read. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I'm not a huge fan of things that have trilogies, and so oh, the name almost came to me. It's like a thread of shadow, a shadow of, let's just look it up. Let's look it up. Let's look up what V.E. Schwab. I have my laptop behind me. V.E. Oh, Shades of Magic. A darker shade of, why did I think it was shadows? Okay, A Darker Shade of Magic is what it was called. And I started the second book, but it was reading more like a pirate book than a magic book, and so I've stopped reading it, and I'm hoping to get back into it because it did take me a while to get into A Darker Shade of Magic, just because it was kind of slow, and it's YA, and so it took me a minute. But I do think I am going to enjoy the next one. I just have to get into it, and I'm hoping and praying that the bad guy comes back. No, I don't think he's really bad. I think he's going to be like a good guy. I think he's just under mind control. He is the, I don't even know his name now because it's been a while, but he's the guy that Kel is kind of up against. He's the other magic guy, and I am like, fingers crossed, please let him be like really cool, big bad, and let him take over like Black London in the future book. That's my thought. That's what I think is going to happen. Could be totally wrong. He might be really be dead. But anywho, the other thing that I'm fixing to start reading is, you can see I have some Hanagram back here. I'm going to start Red Dragon, just for fun, just to see what it's like. I've heard that there's some really crazy stuff in it. And then I think I'll also read the next book, which is A Gathering of Shadows. And then I have quite the backlog over here. I have Shadow and Bone. I've got Six of Crows that I really want to read. I have, I've actually read all the Rogerson books except for the sequel to Sorcery of Thorns, which is Mysteries of Thorn Manor. And I got it when it first came out. I pre-ordered it, but I'm so scared that it's not going to be as good that I'm too scared to read it. So I'll work up to that someday. I've also started Sense and Sensibility, so hopefully I'll have some more books to tell you guys about soon. I hope this wasn't too long-winded, and let me know if you enjoyed any of these books as well. Bye!